everybody. Welcome to Aniki, the podcast about anime with two brothers. I'm Ben.
And I'm a breakup device.
Are you a ring, then? Or just a giant lifesaver?
I do hide out in wells and come up to menace people through televisions, so I think that makes me a ring.
Good.
Right? That's how that works?
I mean, you do have long hair, and I assume it covers your face a lot.
No, I usually have it pulled back, and it's not that long, so it could use a trim.
So this week, we're going to talk about the silly and somewhat short Korean anime called Breakups. But first,
yes,
what news do you have?
I get to move into my new house 20 days early, so that's pretty cool.
That is good. What has prompted that?
The residents that are currently living there are moving out 20 days earlier than they had expected.
Oh, well, there you go. So we've been gone the last 2 weeks, and one of those reasons was I think both of us were at an eclipse.
We were.
To watch the sun fall out of the sky and get eaten by a giant wolf demon or something.
Eaten by a grue. It got very dark.
Go
watch out for grues in the dark.
How did you guys find it?
Weird.
It was weird.
Just weird. It's hard to describe, right? Because, I mean, it's not like it's something you, like, ever see, ever.
Right.
So it's like we lack words to describe such a thing.
This is true. I had a bunch of friends up here that were all like, it just gets dark, so I wasn't going to go down there. It gets dark, then it gets light again.
But you get to see the corona, which is something you just can't see ever, except during these things.
Me and my wife went down to our other brother's apartment, he who shall not be named, and we watched it from basically his backyard.
Oh, that's cool. We watched it from the balcony of our hotel.
And we didn't get a whole lot. We got like 45 seconds of the thing.
That was about ours, because we were on the far northern exposure.
We were on the far southern
of our band. Okay.
I think I saw like 5 seconds of it because I was cameraing. And one of the cameras ended up not taking any pictures at all because it was all blurry.
Yeah, that sucks.
I wasn't going to look through the viewfinder to actually check on the focus.
Yeah.
Because, sun. But anyway, when you're there, you're prepared. It's going to get dark. It's going to get a little bit weird. But nothing prepares you for you're there and all of a sudden the light starts dimming. But it's not like dusk. It's this weird,
it's weird,
bruise-colored light.
Yeah. No,
and it's all weird.
It's very different.
It's all
very
wrong.
Strange.
And you're sitting there and you know what's going on. You're like, well, the eclipse is happening, but everything's off.
Yeah, no, it's super weird. Like you can't.
And then you look at the horizons and they're all still light because it's day over there still.
It's super weird.
And then you look up and there's a hole in the sky. It's like,
yeah, it is unsettling. I can understand why our ancestors were like, that ain't right.
I know, right?
Because it ain't right. It's bad. It's weird.
Because if you didn't know it was coming, it's pretty much normal light until like maybe 10 minutes before totality happens.
Until about the last 10% is when it starts getting weird. And the temperature starts dropping out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
And where we were, the fog started rolling in. It was clear. It was foggy. And then right as the eclipse started, it got clear. But as the eclipse went longer, the fog rolled back in because of the temperature drop.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like super eerie.
We had a small cloud go right in front of the eclipse just as it was happening.
Oh, that sucks.
But it didn't obscure it because you can still see
that's
through
how
it.
our fog was, yeah.
And it's sort of, half the corona is sort of diffused into this weird wispy thing. So it ended up making the whole corona look like an eye, like for real.
Yeah, no, it's creepy.
The bottom of it, because I think there was a little bit of light peeking up at the bottom, it was coming through the cloud and scattering. So it was blood red at the bottom. Oh, so it looked like the sky was weeping tears of blood.
I mean, yeah, no, eclipses are strange. And we get to see another one in just 7 years.
Yep, 7 more years. We can look at one more.
And then there's another one over here in the Pacific Northwest in about 20 years. It's in like 2045, and there's another one nearby.
2048, or 2045, something like that. And then we'll all be dead.
I could get out my little book.
Unless you go out of the country. We'll all be dead for the next one. So we only get to see 2 more. It was fun, though, because my wife, I sort of drug her south.
Yeah.
To go look at it.
She didn't want to go?
She didn't really care. She thought, it's going to get dark, blah, blah, blah.
I mean, it does. But, I mean, I was only in it for the corona because it's like you can't,
you
can't see that. The only way you can see it is when this happens.
So as we were leaving, she's like, so when's the next one? I'm like, well, 2024, but there's one in Chile in like 2 years. And she's like, let's go to that. Like, okay.
Well, here's like the thing, right? Is because you get all these, like Neil deGrasse Tyson, in his infinite wisdom, was all like, Well, whenever people tell you it's rare, they're not really rare. They happen like every 2 years. It's like, well, yes, but like normally it's over the ocean where no one can see anything because it's the ocean.
Or Antarctica or something.
The planet is a lot of water, Neil, in case you didn't notice in all of your scientific wisdom. This is the first one to pop over the United States in like, what,
40,
70 years?
30?
Yeah, like way longer.
Yeah.
In a long time. And this is probably the most recorded eclipse in human history. Just the fact that it went completely over
Went over
industrialized
America
country.
and everybody's got cell phones. So
Exactly. It's probably the most recorded eclipse ever in the history of the world. So it's kind of a big deal.
although driving back was a total nightmare.
We waited an extra day. So
That was smart.
it sure was.
Yeah.
It was smooth sailings until we hit the snarl between Tacoma and Olympia. But it's hard to tell if that was affected by the eclipse at all.
Well, going to Nashville normally takes 6 hours from where we live. And
Yep.
it took 8 getting there. So we figured, well, it'll probably be, 8 or 9 hours going back.
Everybody tried to leave at once.
No. It took us 11 hours to get from Nashville to Louisville.
Yeah, people will trickle in to get there, but
It was
everybody
bad.
leaves at once.
It was bad.
It's like a sporting event.
I'd do it again. Not that
I mean,
part.
I wouldn't do that part.
Not
Yeah.
that part.
See, since the next one's back home in Indiana, we'll just plan a week around it, and we'll just fly over
Just
and
hang out.
come back, and we'll miss most of the craziness.
Except it's in April, so it may just be covered in clouds.
Eh.
But we will see. So during our hiatus, we actually had somebody contact us.
Oh,
Apparently, it's another startup anime podcast called
isn't that nice?
ReAnimator. They reached out, said
Sure.
they love the show.
Well, that's nice
and
of them.
So
We have a listener.
yay,
Thank you.
we have at least one.
Hey,
So thanks, guys, for reaching out to us. If you're interested, go check them out. They're new. They probably need people to listen to them too. So I'll leave a link. What is this about Netflix vampires?
Okay, look, if you have a vampire, you should have Netflix. It's just very, very important.
So you contacted me about this like 5 days ago and told me you would explain all, and I have waited with bated breath.
It was
Every night I've
very
had nightmares about what could it be.
You should. It's bad news. So I've been playing online role-playing games with my old roommate, Mackenzie, co-host of the Gym Jam.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like over Roll20 or something?
No, just over Discord. It's World
Okay.
of Darkness. We don't need all that fancy schmancy. You roll D10s every once in a while. Like, come on.
Okay.
I don't know how familiar you are with the World of Darkness world.
Is this Vampire?
Vampire the Masquerade. Technically, this is Vampire the Requiem, but yeah.
I am familiar with it as I was drugged to a LARP once.
Oh, I'm very sorry for you.
I was too at the time.
The LARPers are strange.
Well, I had no idea what was going on. I was apparently there as an extra
haven't-
body so they could do a political move or something.
Oh, that sounds about right. Who'd you go with? I'm fascinated by your vampire story, because my vampire story is silly, but your vampire story sounds terrifying.
I went with my best friend who ended up being my second best man and all of his friends.
Okay.
And they needed another guy. So I went with them and they role played the whole way down there,
I'm sure they did.
which was weird because I had no idea what was going on. I
I
didn't know
bet.
the rules either or the backstory.
Well, generally you have a deck of cards, and
Oh no.
you probably got eaten.
I went into a round table
Okay.
and I sat there with a lot of weird people talking about the werewolves are coming and we must form the
mean, that can
alliance.
oh, sure.
and
yeah, no, I
something,
don't see
and
why
then
not. Were they doing Masquerade or Requiem?
I believe it was Masquerade because this was many
Okay, well,
years
that's the
ago.
old- Oh, okay. Well, and then it's the old one.
And so they did some political move and I guess got control of all the things.
Well, that's good. It's good for them.
And then at that point they're like, okay, well, we did our thing. If you want, you can keep doing this, or you can go upstairs and hang out and just chill.
Chillax.
So I looked around
with
and
Netflix.
I had people, throwing paper at each other and talking about how I just devoured your head with a dragon or something. And I'm like,
Okay.
I'll wait
I'll
upstairs.
just go- I'll just go
I'm
chill.
good.
I'll go chill. So why did they have to drag you along? Again, I'm fascinated by this.
Again, I think it was they needed more players so they could physically have more people than the other factions.
Oh, okay, sure.
And then they role played the whole way back too.
You were there as like a thrall or like a ghoul or something.
Yeah, something like that, I
Seems
guess.
reasonable.
So I assume your vampires have to use Netflix in some...
So I've been playing James Smith, crackpot reporter.
Okay.
He's a conspiracy theorist, obviously. He was vampired up, and then like after you become a vampire, after about a couple of weeks or so, you have to go to the prince of the city to make sure that they're going to let you live as a vampire because you're not too much of a wild card. Otherwise, they just stake you and leave you out for the sun to like murderate. Now, normally you don't go see the prince about this. You go see an underling. So we go off to go see the underling about it. I'm like, okay, this isn't gonna be too bad. Just behave yourself, no snarking, and you'll make through it. Now, James Smith loves to snark.
Of course,
I don't know if you know him, but he loves to snark.
Well, I know the person that plays him, so I can guess.
Yeah. So we go in, and we're like, okay, here we go. And then the big curtain opens, and of course, it's the prince. Lucky me. Yeah, exactly. Now, the prince of the city is very capricious,
as they are.
He likes to keep everybody on their toes by just asking stupid, random, crazy stuff of people. He opens up the curtain and he's like, okay, guys, are you guys ready? Because it's the Gustav Power Hour. That's the prince's name is Gustav. Gustav Power Hour.
Oh,
if we're not out of here in 60 minutes, I'm just going to kill someone. And everybody's like, well, that's bad. So here we go. Because he's like, I have to be back in an hour because I'm watching the new season of Orange is the New Black, and I have to find out what happens.
Oh, boy.
So the first thing he asks my character is like, okay, so have you seen Orange is the New Black? And my character, being a conspiracy theorist, is like, no, I don't get Netflix. He's like, okay, why don't you get Netflix? I'm like, well, I just don't. It's like, that's just how they what? Like that's how they get you. And he's like, well, that's good. I want you to get got. So here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna have to get Netflix and watch every original Netflix series over the span of a week. And write down detailed episode descriptions of everything you watch. I'm like, but that's not okay. So
you've been cursed.
We do that.
Uh-huh.
And then he's like, okay, so you've been doing naughty stuff and you've broken the masquerade like 8 times and let people know you're a vampire, and that's bad. So what are you going to do to prove to me that you aren't going to break the masquerade anymore? Like, I don't know. What do you want me to do? He's like, okay, so come here, come up. So I wander up to the prince. He's like, oh, no, keep on going. I'm like, and so I get really, really close to him, and he just goes, boop, got your nose. It's like, what? And he doesn't like actually take my nose. He does the thumb through the fingers trick.
Of course.
He's like, and you can have this back when you've proven you've been a good boy. I'm like, oh, all right. I'm not expecting this. So I go to leave, and he starts dismissing everybody. And, well, James Smith isn't one to give up without having the last word in a conversation.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just like, okay, so, sir, and everybody looks at me because, you're not really supposed to talk back. I'm like, so watching every original series in Netflix in a week is physically impossible. So if I have to do that or you kill me, why don't you just kill me now? He's like, oh, all right. So they do. They stake me in the back and drag me out, and I burn to death in the sun. So get Netflix if you're a vampire. Very important.
Duly noted.
I made a point that my new character on the server has Netflix. She's a little old lady, and she uses it to watch Golden Girls.
That is
so it's very important.
Good character note.
Because the first thing I did is like, well, would James Smith have Netflix? No, he wouldn't, because that's how they get you.
I take 10 points in Netflix.
Take 10 points in Netflix. All the dots. I have 5 Netflix dots.
Nice.
So have Netflix if you're a vampire. It's very important, or it will lead to your death.
That's great.
And I know that was a role-playing story, and role-playing stories are always the worst.
Well, I've got a short one for you.
Oh, sure. Why we're on a roll?
Yeah, while we're on a roll.
Other people's role-playing stories.
2 days ago.
Oh, well, there you go. Did you have Netflix?
No. We're playing Pathfinder. We're doing Curse of the Crimson Throne. We're in some castle.
Okay, sure.
We encounter some mid-boss. We've actually bypassed an entire room full of traps because we have stonework in that trap, and puzzles are for chumps. So
sure.
Screw that. We go straight to this mid-boss. Mid-boss is giant, like, think Hindu-ish goddess with, like, 4 faces, 6 arms.
Mecha Shiva. Okay.
Basically Mecha Shiva. We're to rescue 2 people who are chained to the wall behind her.
Okay.
We're like, all right, we roll initiative. Okay, here we go. Who goes first? My wife, the witch, she goes first.
Oh, witches. I love witches.
She's like, I turn her into a bunny rabbit. And the DM's like, okay, polymorph, fort save. 1.
Did she turn a goddess into a
He's like, oh, wait. I got to roll her will save. So, she can still cast spells and stuff. Here we go.
1.
She's a floppy
job.
bunny rabbit.
That's something to put on your resume.
So the guys that we were rescuing, who are pretty high up people, they are terrified of the witch now because from their perspective, this little girl just sort of walked in and goes, nope. And then takes this floppy bunny and just puts it in her sack. And she's like, you're Mr. Snuggles now. And that's how that was.
But yes, I did get credit for having the most hilarious death on the server, as it made the ST laugh quite heartily.
So I do actually have one anime-related thing.
Okay.
Over the last couple of weeks, my wife started watching this show called Made in Abyss. And she's like...
Oh, I've heard of that.
And she's like, you should really watch this show.
Now, hold on. Just for the listeners at home, when you say Made in Abyss, how are you spelling made?
Made.
This could go either way.
Made as in create.
Okay.
M-A-D-E, not M-A-I-D, which is different.
I knew that, but I thought it prudent to clarify that.
Yes. Your caution is quite warranted. But she's like, you will really like this show. And I was hesitant because anytime someone says that to me, I'm like, eh. So I watched 2 episodes of it the other day while she was out, and I gotta say, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard about it.
It's about a little girl
As
and
always.
her friends who live in an orphanage, and they live in a city that surrounds this giant chasm. And apparently the people in the city make a living by going into the chasm and finding weird, inhuman artifacts down there. And the little girl, her mom was like the best one ever, and she has been missing in action for the last 11 years. So you've got little kids trying to become, like their role models and parents and stuff, and friendship and all that kind of stuff. It's a good little adventure thing.
Oh, that's cute.
If you can get past the Moe Blob faces, because they do have Moe Blob faces.
You kind of have to get past that in a lot of shows these days.
It's a cute little show.
That's cute.
Little robot boy.
Is it a secret robot brother?
Don't know. She does find him in the giant chasm, the abyss, as it were, because that's what they call it. It's the abyss. Hence the name of the show.
Yeah.
The robot was probably actually like made in the abyss, and come to find out, she was born in the abyss. So it's like
she was made.
Yeah, like she was made in the pit. Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay, sure.
It's a good show. I would probably recommend it. You like those kinds of adventure kid shows?
If I can find the time, because I have to move and stuff.
Yeah.
So
well,
I don't have time to do much.
You got time to complain about it.
I got time to get murdered for not having Netflix, but that's about it. All right. Do you want to break up?
Sure. Let's break up. As you've probably guessed so far in the season, we're going through a bunch of OVAs and 1 to 2 episode type things. And this week we're both watching a thing that John suggested, which is
on a whim, really.
On a whim, which neither of us have seen, a show called Breakups.
It's a 1 episode special by a Korean studio.
It's 15 minutes long, and as far as I can tell, it's only available on Crunchyroll.
Yep, and it has a 4.5 star rating with 500 votes. And that's about where I put it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's no
beyond that though. It is a little
really bad.
It is quite interesting that I cannot find anything about it.
About it? Yeah, that is strange, isn't it?
It's not on Wikipedia. It's not on my anime list. It's not anywhere. It's just on Crunchyroll and the Crunchyroll forums.
I recommend watching it because, it's 15 minutes. What have you got to lose? It's 14 minutes and 41 seconds. You got nothing to lose, and it's pretty cute.
Yep, I like it. So what prompted you to actually, suggest this?
I was just looking through, 1 episode shows on Crunchyroll's library, and I was like, well, here's one.
There's one.
This sounds cute. It says Slice of Life. I like it. About a young couple with an on and off again relationship. Yes, please. So I'll watch that.
Yeah.
So I watched it. Well, today I watched it. I suggested it last couple weeks ago.
I also today just watched it. Because, and this is a forewarning, you can only watch it if you have Crunchyroll Premium.
Yeah, turns out.
So, sorry about that, but I'm still going to put a link in the thing, and you can still listen along. I don't know.
Also, it's like you can at least get the 14-day free trial. So,
and watch 15 minutes. And then other
It's
stuff.
50 minutes. Also, if you're listening to us and you don't have Crunchyroll Premium, that's weird.
So Breakups opens with a couple standing on the edge of a beach looking out over the ocean.
Now, I do want to say 2 things about just this opening shot. First off, this background is really good, right?
A lot of the backgrounds are really good.
Backgrounds are really good.
Characters.
Well, the characters are interesting. They're doing what they do in Samurai Jack. It has no line art. It's a line artless style unless you absolutely positively need the lines to distinguish something from a background color.
Yes, it's very
Which I like.
cell shading without the shading part.
Yeah, and I like that. I like that style every once in a while. That's one of the reasons that made Samurai Jack look very visually stunning is because it just uses color against color with no lines.
Yeah, there are a couple of other animes that do this, but instead of like the solid colors, they'll use like background patterns.
Yeah.
Gankutsuo did that. Chiko Shoujo does that. But here they use just solid pastels.
And both the character designs are really interesting. You get a lot from these 2 characters just by looking at them, because like the woman is even in heels and a smart skirt.
I was going to point out she's wearing stilettos on the beach.
On the beach, yeah. And the guy has got like
Pince-nez.
socks and sandals.
He has pince-nez. Let's point that out.
I don't know what that is.
That's the little clip-on glasses.
Oh, the teeny tiny glasses. Yes. But he's in like jeans and like socks and sandals. And like a hoodie.
Yeah,
so they're
pretty
very
hipster.
Different. They give you like a good rundown of like, first off, here's your odd couple. you have smartly dressed businesswoman next to like this slacker hipstery looking guy.
Yeah.
So
it looks like he just fell out of college.
Yeah. And guess what they're doing on the beach?
Are they perhaps breaking up?
Yes, they're breaking up again.
What a shock.
What a shock.
So they yell at each other for a bit.
Yes. About how every other time they've broken up, they keep bumping into each other, and it's very upsetting, so please stop it.
Quit getting into my life. Leave me alone. All I wish is that you were gone from my life, they say to one another.
Yes.
And then they are unceremoniously hit by a wave. Now, is this
very, very good?
Is this a wave of emotion, perhaps?
It's a wave of Zetsubo.
Yes, I was going to say a wave of nostalgia, but Zetsubo is a better word.
Oh, that's good. I like wave of nostalgia, but I would go with Zetsubo because it's always the secret 5th panel anyway. Zetsuboshita.
So they fall down and are very wet from the giant wave, but something else has appeared between them.
Yeah, a little case.
A little briefcase.
You forgot to mention how the woman literally does the Arthur meme.
Oh, with the fist.
The fist.
Yes.
Yeah. She Arthur memes, which is pretty sweet, not gonna lie. And again, this is all in Korean this time, so I can't use any of my little cheats and get extra nuance.
Oh yeah, that's true. This whole thing
Other
is
than the
Korean.
fact that it's just like, is this Japanese? It doesn't sound. It has the cadence of Japanese, but something's wrong. It's like, oh yeah, it's Korean.
Korean is a strange language to actually like listen to,
especially if you know Japanese, because it has a very similar cadence.
It has a similar cadence,
just that extra
but it
bit of
sounds more Chinese.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's bothersome. It's kind of like listening to somebody speaking Dutch across a room.
Yes. It's like, what? Is that No, that's not German. Is it French? No, it's not French. I don't know what that is.
It's just close enough to something that I know that I'm like, man, what is that? Oh, yeah, it's Korean. Yeah, shoot. No extra little nuance from us on this one.
Nope.
I can't use my cheating powers of half knowing another language to glean any extra information.
So at this point, we get a title card?
Yeah, a little title card.
I don't know because I can't read any of the... Well, I can read the kanji on the left.
Yeah.
Which is part of Zetsubo.
Good! It was a wave of Zetsubo.
Actually, I don't know what bo is. Maybe it is Zetsubo.
See, that would be great.
Because that is
I love how
Zetsu.
they even have a little sign here that's like, caution, high wave values in this area.
Yes.
It's like they did this as a dumb.
I am going to look up. Let's look up.
All right, sure. Kanji corner. Here we go.
Now it's kanji corner. Reason. Cause. Fate. So in. So Zetsuin.
Eh.
Let me look up the whole word.
Here we go.
So, yeah, Zetsuin. It is not a word.
Oh, well.
It must be Chinese.
Must be.
Discontinue margin, reason, fate. Discontinue fate. Oh,
Nope,
break
see?
up.
Yeah,
There
you go. It's like, we did it. It's like, oh, that sounds like breakup to me. If we're discontinuing fate, that sounds like a roundabout way to
If it helps,
the same
the title
concept as
card
breakup.
then turns from kanji into
Korean, which doesn't help me at all. Except I'm sure it's a very, very straightforward if you know how to read Hangul, because Hangul
it's phonetic.
is actually the best language in the world.
Because it was built.
Yeah. They were like, nuts to this. We're going to make our own language.
Oh, so we cut from that, and the lady holds up
the briefcase that washed up.
Well, she holds up what she got out of the briefcase, which is a strange-looking ring. And it has kanjis on it. And it
sure does.
has those first two, and then an extra one.
Oh, here we go. More kanji corner. Oh, nice. Oh, I just noticed the little symbols on the... So the tile card, when it pops up, are on these cubes that rotate. And before it switches to the kanji, it has the 3 rules we learn at the end of the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which is super cute, because they're meaningless symbols when you watch it, but by the end of the episode, they make sense.
Oh, I got to look at it now.
But they're like little
pictograms?
They're pictograms like Portal. They're Portal-esque pictograms, or like any street sign. But, I mean, these are nonsense, so they're more like Portal.
Oh, yeah. Huh. Well, how about that?
Yeah, see, they're the rules. That's clever.
Apparently, they actually say breakup device because the girl's reading it out loud. But it's literally discontinue, fate, or karma, and then the last one is like...
Machine?
It's like...
Gadget?
Object.
Oh,
so
sure. So it's a breakup thing.
It's a breakup thing.
A breakup thingy. Brilliant.
It's a fate-severing thingamajig. So there we go. Now we know what it is. Kanjis.
The guy just holds up a slip of paper that he describes as a manual that was also in the briefcase. Well, the woman's like, man, I sure hope this thing works, because we're going to give it a go. So
the way she thinks that she can make it work is she smashes it against a rock. Now, my question is...
Which I like.
Why was that her first go-to? It's like, there's a strange thing. It says breakup device. I guess I must hit it with a rock.
Well, okay, so let's look at this.
Okay.
If your VCR doesn't work and you're in sitcom land, what do? You fawns it.
Yeah, you fawns it.
Right. But, so she's just fawnsing it.
But this thing hasn't worked and then stopped. She's trying to turn it on.
But it's not doing anything. So I mean, why not?
I guess.
It does get bright red, like it's a piece of forged metal and leaves a scorch mark on the rock. It's actually pretty sweet.
Yes, with steam and such. Well, the dude's very worried about her doing that and starts freaking out. And she does some mocking of him. She's like, what do you think, this is just going to explode or something? I'm like,
it's just like a weird metal ring.
It's a weird thing that just washed up in a briefcase. You don't know what it is.
But also, you wouldn't assume that the weird white ring that just says breakup device on it would do something sinister. You would assume it does nothing, and it's just some weird someone's undergrad art project.
Technically,
which is what it
if
sounds
you made a hoop out of C4, that is technically a breakup device.
I mean, you're not wrong. That's fairly accurate.
It will sever your fate as well.
Yeah, it'll sever a lot of fates.
Well, anyway, she holds it out in front of her and just sort of mutters an incantation. Well, it's more like a prayer because she's like, please God, take this guy out of my life.
It is translated pathetic man, which is, I'm a big fan of that phrasing.
I like his response, which is, well, I'm really a Buddhist, but,
sure.
Ditto. Screw you.
Let's do this. So they both hold on to the ring and they're like, yes, we'll pray for getting each other out of each other's lives forever. And then time travel.
Well, the ring activates.
Yep.
And
we Stargate.
Nostalgia bomb, which is essentially what the thing is, really.
Yeah, basically.
I do like the visuals, and I do like how the device is not explained at all.
Oh, yeah. It just does some weird stuff.
It's like, here's a MacGuffin that sort of just lets us remember what happened in our youth.
Yeah, well, it's like a student film, right?
Yeah.
Like a well-done student film where it knows what it's doing and isn't going to belabor certain points.
Of course.
It's using a plot contrivance as just that, a plot contrivance.
Mm-hmm.
Just to get the show to do its message and move on with itself. It's not belaboring any points, which is always nice, which is always good to see.
So when we exit the time tunnel, we land inside of a dark room. It's red. There's a girl in there who looks very similar to the girl that we just saw, only younger with shorter hair. And
and we get a voiceover from the woman being like, well, hey, now, I'm pretty sure that's me.
This is weird. What?
So definitely get the reading that they're viewing the scene the way we are, which is from a weird outside third-person perspective. So they've not traveled back in time as they haven't Sam Becketted.
Yes, they have not.
Which is important.
But she points out, I'm pretty sure this is when I was finishing up my college senior project.
And if that's the case, then...
And at that moment, the door opens, flooding the room with light.
And they do a really great thing here where they actually like overexpose their frames to really get that good like flash of light as
I do
boyfriend
like that.
opens the door. That's really well done.
He's like, hey, can I borrow your camera for my school trip? And it turns out he's just ruined everything. They even look at the developer tray and watch the print that she was just working on go completely black.
Oh, and she goes through this great little series of like facial expressions as she like realizes what has just happened. Well, this show is really well animated. This is super cute.
Well, I mean, you can take money away from like all the painting and put it towards actual movement.
Yeah, it's really cute.
So at this point, we suddenly cut outside to where the couple in their original outfits, so a present day couple sitting on a park bench arguing about what happened back then.
What they just saw.
And you're like, did we cut back to the present? What's going on?
Like you're still not quite sure because they're both yelling at each other and it's like, hey, whose fault was that? Whose fault was this incident here? I had a little sign up that said I was working and you just busted in.
Technically, she should have locked the door.
She really
And
should.
honestly, all dark rooms should be double doored anyway, so...
That's probably true.
Bad school. But in front of this bench walks a dude carrying a lady.
Yep, and the dude is definitely like boyfriend.
Obviously, because he's carrying the girl on his back.
Got the hair. Yeah, but it's a different girl. It's not girlfriend girl. Not the one we know.
Even though you think that's obviously who it should be.
Maybe.
Completely different hair, though. So you're like,
Yep. They're both drunk. Obviously, they've got the little drunk blush that anime has.
And he looks up, and who should be standing there but
modern girlfriend Chan.
Uh-oh. And she
just holds off and slaps him. Which even startles the modern day couple, which is pretty good.
It's like, whoa.
Like they both kind of knew it was coming, but here it is.
Well, I don't know that they did, because maybe...
They remember this.
Well, he may not remember it that well, because he's pretty drunk. And she may have, like, pushed that kind of... Because she's embarrassed by this episode. So maybe she's pushed it out of her mind. But she's really mad. Or the past self was really mad.
Yeah.
About something.
She's even, like, trembling, and she's, like, super upset. Him getting slapped by her makes the girl on his back, like, get really upset, come to her senses, and she also gets mad at him.
And apparently, he never knew what in the world that was all about. Because present to him sitting on the bench with a cigarette now is like, I never actually understood why you did that.
It was totally uncalled for and very childish, because it turns out that was like right after, like 3 days after they had broken up. One of the many times they had broken up.
Yeah. And she's like, I can't believe that within a week you were already with somebody else.
Yeah. And she even admits it. Modern day her even admits it's like, yeah, I probably really shouldn't have done that because it led you to like getting in trouble with this other girl you knew and I had no right. But, you know.
And he's like, yeah, but it was like the third or fourth time we broke up. I don't even remember. That's how insignificant it was, honestly.
Yeah, third or fourth breakup. Yeah. I like how he can't remember on which breakup attempt this was. Really just shows you these guys. These guys really are meant for each other. You get that about halfway through.
Yeah.
It's like you realize, it's like, come on, guys.
They're fighting like a married couple.
Yeah, you guys just need to get over it.
So before they can fight anymore, the ring sort of pops out from behind a bush and breaks up the fight.
Yeah.
To use a phrase.
Yeah.
And then transports them somewhere else.
And this is when they finally sort of start realizing, hey, it's that weird ring that's doing this, we guess.
And
it poofs them.
Yeah.
Well, first off, it gives you this really cool shot. Now, this shot is cool and interesting for a couple of little reasons. One, because it's some foreshadowing for the end of the show. But it shows them sort of from the ring's point of view, and they're outlined in blue, and they're like little wisps passing in between them.
That connect them.
Like strings.
Yeah.
See where we're going with this?
Uh-huh. Strings and knots and such.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's important for the end.
Well, we are transported with the characters to a subway, or subway, depending. And the girl is going to get on the train.
Pass girl
Is about to get on the train. They're already viewing this from some perspective.
Yeah.
But
they already know what's
because they're like, we always kept running into each other. It was really freaky and terrifying. And the doors open, and who's standing there but boyfriend?
But
ex-boyfriend. Sweating bullets.
Sweating bullet trains.
He's like, no. Yes, thank you. No.
And they're both like, yeah, we super can't believe it. We had the worst luck on the planet. Because he had even moved away. It was after they had broken up the 5th time, and he had moved away to a different neighborhood in Seoul.
Yeah, he hadn't even just moved away. He had switched schools.
Yeah, like far away.
And what's funny is they're watching this from one of the benches in the train, and they're like, yeah, and we got together immediately after that.
Yeah.
It's like, really? If you guys know or think you're that bad for each other, all you got to do is like let those doors close and just get the next train.
Yeah,
that is it.
Oh, also, it's fun to do a little stop on this.
On that sign?
Yeah.
Because it says, there's a sign above the subway. It says way out. But then also you can either go to Goindol's or Hogwarts.
Yeah, which is pretty good. That's a cute little homage by the animation team. Oh yeah, we were right back together then and there. Like they saw each other like, oh, I guess we're just going to start going out again.
And they're like, what kind of crime did we deserve to...
These crazy kids.
I like this visual though, because the train is moving and they're going down a tunnel and they're lamenting, again, what crime did we commit to deserve all this? As they're going down the tunnel opens up into a series of concentric rings of light.
Yeah. Yeah, and we just go into their next like breakup scene.
Yep.
And you get a cute little poppy band. They're at a concert.
I will admit I wasn't a fan of the music here.
It wasn't great. It wasn't well lip synced either.
Well, I think it wasn't just the lip sync. It's the lead singer here is a very youngish looking punk girl with pink hair.
Yeah.
And what comes out of her mouth is like a
slightly more mature.
Yes. A much lower pitched K-pop.
Yeah, than you would think.
It's like,
it's kind of strange.
And it's not lip synced. That's the vocals aside. I mean, the music in this episode is really good.
Well, it's good in the way that's like you never notice any of it. So it's the type of good that good video game music is, where it just gives you enough to
set the mood.
Yeah, set the mood, and it doesn't detract. It doesn't add in the way like a super great soundtrack does, but it does the good. There's two ways of good soundtracks. Ones that just like accentuate everything that you never notice, and the ones that like really, really add through its sound design.
Agreed.
This is the former, not the latter.
So in this breakup scene, it turns out this was the first one.
The first breakup.
The monumental one.
This one's pretty good. This is a good breakup. If there ever was a good dramatic TV breakup, this is it. This is good.
So they initially see it from the perspective that both of them had, because they're both sitting on a bench and they're watching themselves at this concert. Yep, and apparently she's super upset and she storms off through the door and he's just left there just sort of staring off after her.
Yeah, and they're like, we were together for 364 days at the time.
Yep.
Probably the longest they were ever going out together.
Yeah.
And she just storms out on him on their anniversary. Lame move.
Yep.
Lame move.
And apparently that was like the impetus for all of the preconceptions that they've had since then.
Yeah.
Because they both think that, both of them are cold and etc.
Yeah, because she's like, look, you didn't grab me to stop me from going away. You just let me go. He's like, well, you were just toying with me the whole time because you just led me on for a year and then just left.
Yeah.
It's lame.
So he's like, why don't you just go grab yourself since we're here?
Yeah.
But instead, he decides to follow past her and she stays there in the concert hall with past him. This is where the narratives sort of diverge a little bit.
They both learn they both learn about each other and maybe just a little bit about themselves.
Friendship.
How to explain this? This is hard when there's multiple instances of the same character on screen. We should not choose shows like this.
So the dude accentuates that he's glad he didn't run after her back then because he had this thing called, quote, pride.
But he goes marching upstairs after past her.
Yeah, to find out, what exactly happened after that.
And he keeps ranting about how, like, she would go on about how they were meant for each other and yada, yada, yada. But yet she was the one to break up with him.
Mm-hmm. But he gets to the top of the stairs and finds that she has stopped. She hasn't actually left the venue yet.
Past her.
And the reason is because she's crying a lot.
Yeah, she's in the doorway crying, saying how it's like, well, you never told me that you loved me, and I, like, wanted to trust you, but you just never like committed to this relationship the way I thought you would.
Yep.
In this amount of time, and she's like breaking down in this doorway.
It's really sad.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, dude, don't be a jerk. Don't go out with somebody for a year and like not commit at least that much of emotion.
To be fair,
to the relationship.
Future him feels pretty awful about this revelation.
Oh yeah, like
he's
super
like,
bad.
Oh, crap.
But we cut back down to past him and present her.
Yep.
And she's like yelling at the shade of past him, being like, wow, you're just gonna sit here and listen to the music this whole time after I was upstairs having a freaking emotional meltdown, you jerk.
Because his face is just this blank slate that's staring out through the slightly ajar door.
Lights go out, and then the lights then come back on, focused on where he and her would have been.
Mm-hmm.
And the lead singer is like, oh, and the next song was composed by, okay, let's see if I can pronounce this. I'll just say by the boyfriend. I'm usually pretty good at Korean names. I just have to have heard them. I can't pronounce them from reading it.
Yeah.
The next song they're about to sing was composed by the boyfriend for his girlfriend, and it's entitled You Are My Everything. And he asked to play it tonight, the date of their anniversary.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh.
Happy anniversary to Jisik and Yamin.
Yeah, probably. Again, I'm good when I've heard them the first time, but from cold, I'm bad at Korean names.
Well, she gets a pretty shocked face from hearing
like,
that, and she looks up at him, and he's still just blank face staring out. Well, I do like how she sort of follows his gaze, realizing, oh no.
I done goofed too.
I ran through the thingy there. And then she turns back around, and he's fumbling with this thing in his pocket, and he pulls it out, and of course, it's a ring case.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
He was at least going to do a sweet, if not straight up propose. So, youch.
He also sort of pulls his head down into his jacket, kind of like a turtle, a little bit. Like, yeah, everything here has gone wrong.
And then we get a really good animation as the scene sort of flips away in like weird ring time. It fades to white, and she sort of gets transported, and she goes by this hexagonal panel of a whole bunch of like images of their past relationships.
Yep.
Which is a nice little touch before that scene bursts away, and they're back at the beach during sunset again.
Right back where we started. And apparently, that is where they met for the first time.
They had both even forgotten that that's where they had met for the first time.
And they start realizing, so that was a nice song request. And he's like, yeah, maybe I should have gone after you then. Maybe. She's like, what did you ever do with the ring? Lost it.
He's just like, I lost it over the years. Like, oh.
Because it's been like forever.
Yeah.
We lost so many things, she says.
Oh, it's like, my heartstrings.
Goodness.
It's like, goodness, 14-minute show. You shouldn't give me this many feelings. Stop it. Stop being cute and like sad.
So what's nice here is she pulls out a camera to take a picture of the sunset because, apparently she went to school to be a photographer. So if you remember, when we cut to the scene of her developing pictures, the picture she was actually working on when he burst through the door was a picture of him at the beach.
Yep. You see that before it like shrivels to black and they break up.
And as he's lamenting here in the present at the beach, saying, man, we had a dreadful relationship. She basically recreates the picture in her camera.
Yeah.
But instead of him being like super happy, he's just like
a little
melancholy.
A little melancholic.
But I like how they sort of acknowledge it like adults here.
Yeah, they don't like magically get back together. They're just like, man, that sucked. And like, even the girl's like, I thought we were like for real at one point.
And he's like, well, I mean, we were. obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe we didn't know that then, but we know it now, so
Yeah.
I guess what now?
And the ring's just hovering there in the sky, a grim eye.
I should point out that the ring starts doing this weird, like, it's trying to do a hologram infographic.
Yeah.
But you can't really make out what it is. It's like two hands that are pulling apart.
It's hard to know what it's trying to say.
I took it when I watched it the first time. I took it to mean like I'm now going to dismantle your relationship.
Separate you?
Like
Yeah,
for real
I was
this
taking
time.
it. I was taking it either as that or as you have a choice now to either like be in a relationship or not. Pick. That's how I viewed it. But no, it could be read either way.
Yeah.
As like we are now breaking, because I was going back and forth in my mind. It's like, oh, is this like, oh, you're now going to be severed or what?
Also, we get a picture from the ring's perspective, and instead of a blue aura surrounding them now, it's a red aura, and the little wisps that are going between them are shriveled to like itty bitty size from before.
Yeah. And it's red, like a red string of fate. I don't know if Korea has that same idea, but I assume they do. I assume they do, because I think the Japanese got it from the Chinese anyway.
So the dude sort of pulls his head into his coat again because he's about to do something emotional. He's like, so you want to take one last picture? Because, you know, this is it, right? And she's like, you know what? I know what you're going to say. No, this is it.
Yeah. Nope. We tried 6 times. If we get back together, we'll just break up again.
And he's like, but we could try. We could make it work.
She's like, no, because we're really bad at understanding each other. We'll fight and get suspicious.
That's just how we are.
Yep.
The ring continues its little infographic.
It's helpful. It's helpful hint here.
And she's like, even if we make it through one fight, we're just going to have a bigger one the next time. And they'll keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we'll just keep getting hurt. It's destiny or fate, etc.
And then a countdown starts up on the ring of death.
A destiny of despair. Zetsubo.
Zetsubo. I told you it all ends in Zetsubo.
Always.
But yeah, she's like, let's just get it over with and just like have this device do whatever it's going to do. It's counting down from a minute. So let's just pull the plug.
It'll remove us from each other's lives. This is for the best. And he's like, well, I guess let's at least hold hands while it does it.
Yeah. Let's hold hands and go into this. It's a bit late, but you know, I'm sorry about everything that happened.
I like how he's at least admitting, he's like, I think I understand now what went wrong. But he and she are both now like, they're resigned to this fate that awaits
here's
them.
what's also interesting about, so this is sort of the last shot here, and it's very interesting because you could swear that this is a shot of like 2 people getting married in front of a minister.
Oh
sunset.
man, you're right.
And the ring is right over where the sun is during the sunset. This is an extremely well-framed shot.
I do like this shot.
This is a good shot.
This is also the shot where I realized, why is she wearing stilettos on the beach?
On the beach.
So the thing counts down,
this is
and
a
then
really well-framed shot.
As it hits,
for like eight different reasons.
It basically eclipses the sun.
Yeah. Oh-hoo. Bring it all back together.
And then it floods the entire scene with white. And we're like, well, that was it. My bittersweets.
Guess that was that.
Bittersweet endings.
But then it fades to black, and then we come back to the ring on the beach, just sitting there on the sand.
Flashing the same symbols we saw at the very beginning that we were translating. And the little infographics to go along with it.
And the boyfriend is like, oh, there it is. And they're still together here at the beach. She's got her arms crossed. So they haven't been like surgically removed from each other's lives. They're still like there together. So whatever voodoo this thing was up to, I guess it doesn't do this. And the machine starts saying real words, not just in text, but saying it out loud.
Some instructions.
Yeah, word of caution when breaking up.
Yeah.
Thank you for purchasing our product. Make sure you have a full understanding of the following before using the device.
First, make sure that the users are at a safe distance from the device. This is important. Second, avoid any kind of impact on the device.
First, they were holding it when they used it. Second, she smashed it against a rock.
As you do. And third,
you know,
when it's actually like executing,
doing its things,
never hold hands.
Never hold hands. That's what its friendly infographic was. It was being like, please stop holding hands now, or your broken relationship may be rekindled.
Uh-oh.
Thank you for using the device. And he just blushes and puts his head down. It's like, really? We broke every single rule?
I told you we should have read the manual.
And she's like, is this a coincidence?
Uh, and that's where it ends. And I guess they are back together
They're either back together or they're just back at hating each other.
or
The
something.
question is will it last this time? But then the little ending credits are super cute
The ending
too.
credits are great because it's basically like looking at all the characters, except now instead of being in the scenes, they are like on a film set.
Yeah, it's doing that cute thing where the animators are like the film crew and the leads are like actual actors. So it's like super cute. It's a cute little trope that they do from time to time in animation.
I like
but
it because there's
adorable.
I really like the shot of they've got this sound guy and the camera dude and the director, and it's the scene where he's carrying the girlfriend and she slaps him really hard, but apparently she slapped him too hard in real life.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh
It's
no, I'm
cute.
so sorry.
And there's like a thing of her getting her nails done in like in a makeup chair.
I like it.
It's all cute. They're them putting a bandage on the rock they hurt when they hit the ring. Oh, and the ring broke. The ring broke the first time they did the
Aw.
took the shot. It's cute.
I like it. So what do you think? Did they end up at the end? End up together?
I'd like to think so. It makes it a cuter story that way. Where it's like they actually learn I mean, they definitely end up together for some amount of time, but I like to think they made it work than that time.
I have to be honest. I like the epilogue there where it explained like the rules, because that makes it good funny. I like that. But at the same time,
it brings it all back.
I was actually very satisfied with it ending at that big whiteout. Like if it had just ended right there, I've been like, I could see it going both ways, and it would be totally fine. And I think they still ended it pretty ambiguous.
Oh, they do. Because again, like the device not working, you can either take that as meaning the relationship's rekindled, or they just keep having to break up the old-fashioned way over and over and over again.
This is true. But I mean, they realize that, I guess the reason that they have such animus towards each other is founded on a bunch of made up assumptions that both of them had about stuff.
Because they don't communicate.
They don't. Communication is the key. My wife will probably burst in here in a second and hit me over the head for that one.
It's the key that opens up the door to relationships.
To the heart.
And the heart.
Or something.
Oh, okay. How many times did you listen to Total Eclipse of the Heart when you were going down for the eclipse?
0.
What, you monster!
Yes.
Did you know it popped up to like the top of the charts again for the first time in like 30 years?
Did you know that Spotify had a rolling map of where it was playing and when? And you could track the eclipse with that?
That's sweet. I'm so glad. Because we listened to it like right after Totality. I was like, yeah, it's happening.
No, we didn't do that.
Why not?
Because it was trivial and cliche.
But you have to. Yes, but that's why you do it. You do it not because it's clever, but because it's the thing that has to be done.
So, best part?
Oh, best part? I mean, the whole thing's like super cute and adorable. But the cutest and most adorable thing is probably the credits. Outside of that, it's when they meet each other on the train. Like that's pretty sweet.
I like that. And the credits.
Yeah.
I think my best part was probably that ending scene, like with the fade out, because I'm a sucker for like the melancholy what ifs.
Oh, I mean, that's true.
And those like get you right in the thing.
Here we go. I got a good one for this. One of my favorite quotes. I forget why I heard this the first time. Of all the sad words of tongue or pen, the saddest are these, it might have been. John Greenleaf Whittier. He was Mormon.
I was actually thinking the other day, I know there's a list of saddest songs ever. Personally, my saddest song that I've ever heard is a song by Amy McDonald called I Wish I Knew You Before.
Oh, no.
It's about two people that meet, but they're both already married, and they realize that they are actually the perfect soulmates, but they still must go their separate ways because they already made their life choices.
Oh, no.
It's like, right in the feels.
Right in the feels.
Yeah. So yeah, that like I get that. I get the whole, and as I get older, it becomes more and more prevalent. It's like, oh, all these things that could have been, and they're standing there and they're sort of resigned to, yeah, it could have worked different, but we decided to go our separate ways, so that's what we're doing.
No, that's why I like my quote.
I know.
Because it tells you to not worry about it. That's how I've always taken it. I've always taken it of, this is why you don't think of like what might have been, because it's like, dude, to that way leads despair, so don't worry about it too much.
Sadness. What was your worst?
The worst? Oh man, I don't know what the worst was. It was all like really like tight and cute and condensed. So I don't know. I'm not sure I have a true the worst.
I'll tell you my worst.
What?
It's that singing.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Ugh.
Plot-wise, I think it's maybe because I feel like the major incident lays a little more blame on the woman than the man. But, I mean, that would be my only thing.
Well...
But even then, like, it's like, reasonable. But also, he super didn't go after her. Also, he spent a whole year going out with her without telling her he loved her.
I know, right?
That's lame.
That's pretty bad.
So it is... So, it's pretty equal blame. But, if anything, that would be my only slight.
Actually, I just thought of something else. I really like the way that they portrayed how the man and the woman in this relationship handled that initial breakup.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to get into like sexism and all that stuff, but
oh, yeah.
It was very believable because the woman ran off.
Oh, yeah.
They separated. The woman runs off, and then she like opens up to the air. Like she's saying words out loud. She's making sense to herself. And he's just sort of retreats inward.
Oh, yeah. Like physically you see it as he like draws up his little hood and buries himself into it.
Yeah, I'm like, yep, that is how this do.
He just bottles up and is sad about himself and everything around him. It's like, yeah, that seems pretty legit.
Mm-hmm. Like, been there, done that.
We were all high schoolers once.
MVP?
MVP? The Ring?
The Ring. Yes, MVP. MVP.
The Ring's manual for MVP.
It was very important.
MVI, Most Valuable Irony. There you
go.
MVI for Most Valuable Irony.
Good job. So yeah, that was 14 minutes well spent.
Final verdict, it's super cute, and if you have 14 minutes to spare, just watch it, because it's super cute.
Obviously.
There's nothing really that much bad you can say about it. Maybe it's slightly trite, but it's trite in a comfortable way.
I mean, it's trite, but
not
in
an eye-rolly way.
Time restricted, not because...
It's not trite in an eye roll, but in a comfort sort of way.
Yes.
It's like you kind of know how this goes, but in a feel-good, comfortable, not in a, oh, I see where this is going. It's not a horror story about a butcher and the twist is they eat people, okay? Like we're not on that levels of trite. It's like, yes, if it's a horror story about food, it's people. We know.
So, what are we going to watch next time?
I have no idea because I have to like pack a zillion boxes.
We could watch another short one.
Sure. What's another short one?
No, let's watch this. Tsukimi no Ie.
Oh, Ie.
Yeah.
Picture of the Moon?
Nope. It is also on YouTube. It's The House of Small Cubes. It is adorable, and there are no words.
Well, that doesn't sound like that's what that... Oh, EA is room Tsukimi. No, I guess you're right. Right?
Tsumiki no Ie. Did I say Tsukimi? I think I did.
Yes, I think you did.
Yeah.
So I think
I
think that's what got me.
Tsumiki no Ie. I can't read. It's a short from apparently 2008, 2009.
Now, is this an ironic adorable or is this like actually?
That was actually adorable. Although it's about an old man, so adorable is relative.
Oh yeah, it actually brought up in gshow.org as one of the few places where that word is actually used. It won several prizes, most important being the grand prize for short films at ANC International Animated Film Festival in 2008. Yep. And the Academy Award for Best Animated Short Film in 2009.
Oh, really?
So it won an Oscar. This is actually an Oscar award-winning anime.
I did not know that.
So la-di-da.
How about that?
How about that? It even has an IMDb page.
The more you know.
So that means next week I will probably be cubes.
So see you guys next week. Hey guys, thanks for listening. If you'd like to get in touch with us to leave comments or suggest future silly topics, you can contact us on Facebook or Twitter at Aniki Podcast. Or if you'd like to know more about the show and hear past episodes, check out our website at aniki.fm. See you next time on Aniki.